In this video, we're going to talk about the first step in simplifying radical numbers, and that's going to be how to factor a radical number. So this is going to be kind of the playlist here for different ways to simplify when we're dealing with radicals. And negative numbers within a radical, this last one here, that's going to be kind of its own playlist here. That's when we start talking about imaginary numbers. So first, starting with factoring within a radical. So let's say we're asked to combine these two terms. Well, square root of 20 and square root of 5 are not like terms, and so we need to find a way to rewrite them or simplify in a way we can see if they can actually be combined. So how we do that is we want to factor the expression that's in the square root or in the radical, and we want to factor out perfect squares. Okay, so if we have square root of 20, well, some numbers that we can factor out of that are 1 and 20 doesn't really help us, 2 and 10, and 4 and 5. I know square root of 4 is 2, and so let's factor this into square root of 4 times 5. And that actually can be rewritten as square root of 4 times square root of 5. So it's kind of nice we can separate those out, because now square root of 4 is 2. And so this can actually be written as 2 root 5 or 2 radical 5. So that's one way that we can simplify these radicals here, is by factoring out a perfect square. Just something to keep in mind as you get into more complex expressions is that there's a certain order that you need to write out the radical. Just like we always have in math, we have to write certain expressions in a specific order. We're always going to write the coefficient first and then the radical. So notice how I wrote 2 root 5 rather than square root of 5 times 2, because then it can get kind of messy and we're not sure what all is inside the radical. So coefficient first and then the radical. And then within the coefficient and within the radical, we want numbers first and then letters or variables. And then if there are multiple variables, we have to put those in alphabetical order. So one example might be 4xy times square root of 2x. So notice how, again, we've got the numbers in our coefficient, or the coefficient before the variables, and then the variables are in alphabetical order, and then we've got the radical here, number, and then variable.